Morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Today is going to be a big learning day. We are learning about frogs and how they grow from a tadpole to a frog. So what you're going to need today is your listening ears for sure, because Miss Gabby's going to read a very interesting book. And also, if you do have the stuff at home to make a sensory bin to show you the way a frog grows from a tadpole to a frog, that would be great. So you could have a bin with some sand or dirt, water, some plastic frogs or tadpoles, some sticks, lily pads, whatever you want to put in there to help you learn, help mommy teach you more about the life cycle. But what I'm going to do today is we're going to read this book, Tadpole to a Frog, and then we're going to sing our favorite song, Five Green and Speckled Frogs. Okay, so we're going to start the book, and the first thing is, what is a frog? A frog is an amphibian. It spends part of its life living in water and part of its life on land. Amphibians lay their eggs in water. They live in wet places, often near ponds or lakes. Some frogs live in wet rainforests. They are called tree frogs. Most tree frogs are much smaller than frogs that live on ground. That's a tree frog. Where do we see frogs around here? I've seen frogs in ponds. At the duck pond I see frogs. I hear them a lot too. They make that little ribbit noise, right? The story of a frog. A young frog is called a tadpole. It looks different from a frog. Frogs begin life as an egg. The amazing story of how they become adult frogs is called a life cycle. So do you know at the duck pond or at any pond you see lily pads floating on the water? Underneath the lily pads is where frogs lay their eggs. And underneath that, so when the eggs hatch, they become tadpoles. And that's what they look like right here. A frog goes through 3 stages in its life cycle. The first 2 stages are spent in water. Look, there's the frog. Frog spawn. A female frog lays her eggs in spring. She always lays them in water. She lays hundreds of eggs when the water is shallow. The eggs float on the water surface. So then lily pads hide the eggs. See, these are all the eggs, and that's the female frog. Frog eggs are soft and squishy. They stick together in a big clump called frog spawn. So that's why they're all together, because they're sticky. Do this. Ooh, what is this? Inside the eggs. Once the eggs are laid, the adult frogs swim away. Inside each egg, a new tadpole is growing. The tadpole feeds on a small yolk in the egg and grows bigger. Many eggs are eaten by fish and other pond animals, but some survive and their tadpoles keep growing. After a few weeks, the eggs hatch. They hatch sooner in warm weather than they do in cold weather. Wow, isn't that so cool? Tiny tadpoles. Look, here they are. Can you believe that turns into a frog? Tadpoles are tiny when they hatch, but they quickly grow. Each tadpole has a long tail which it uses to swim. It has feathery gills on either side of its head. These allow the young tadpole to breathe underwater. To begin, tadpoles just eat small green water plants. Later, they will also eat pond animals such as water fleas. The big change. This is the exciting part. When they are about 7 weeks old, tadpoles begin to change into frogs. First, they grow back legs. A few weeks later, their gills disappear. Then they swim to the surface of the water to breathe air. Because that's how fish and tadpoles, for example, breathe underwater, is gills. So once their gills disappear, they need to breathe real oxygen above water. So here's the tadpole, and see it's starting to grow legs. And as their legs get longer, their tails get shorter because now they're turning into frogs. Froglets. Look at these guys. The little frogs keep growing and their tails disappear. They are now called froglets. The froglets stay in or near water. They feed on small insects, which they catch with their long, sticky tongues. When they are bigger, the froglets move away from their pond. They find a safe place under plants where they hide. And something cool about frogs, they kind of blend in with their surrounding homes, their habitats. That's a good thing to keep them hidden from predators. The life of a frog. Adult frogs, here I'll show you. See how big it's gotten now? Its tail's gone, its legs are long. Look how long his back legs are. Adult frogs spend most of their time on land. They hide from animals that hunt them. Frogs can make huge leaps to catch food with their long tongues. Many frogs have green, gray, or brown skin. They blend in with their surroundings and are hard to see. This is called camouflage. You see? Let's try and see. Where's the frog in this little picture? Is that it right there? Yeah. But it's kind of difficult because he's the same color as the twigs, the debris on the ground. Back to the pond. Frogs hibernate in the winter. This is because there is little food to eat and the weather is cold. When animals hibernate, they fall into a deep sleep to save energy. In spring, frogs return to the pond where they were born. Soon the story of the life cycle will begin again. Frogs are ready to mate when they are 2 to 3 years old. Wow, look how many frogs, they're just so cute. Okay, so today's a cool day to maybe go down to a pond and check out if you see any frogs because guess what? It's springtime, right? So it says that springtime is here and frogs head back to the pond in the spring to go lay some eggs. They now are out swimming around because it's warm, there's food out. So that's a good activity to do once you go through your sensory box and learn the life cycle of a frog. But first, I'm gonna sing 5 Green and Speckled Frog song, and I want you guys to all sing it with me, okay? All right, and after that, send me some pictures of your life cycle and frogs, and have a great day. All right, guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye. 5 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Crunch, crunch. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 4 green speckled frogs. 4 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Crunch, crunch. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 3 green speckled frogs. Yum, yum. 3 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Crunch, crunch. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are 2 green speckled frogs. Yum, yum. 2 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool where it is nice and cool. Now there is 1 green speckled frog. Yum, yum. 1 green and speckled frog sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Crunch, crunch. One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Now there are no green speckled frogs. Yum, yum.